You're tired, aren't you? Not just tired from lack of sleep. It's a deeper exhaustion, a soul-deep weariness that comes from constantly pushing and striving and forcing. You feel like you're swimming against a current that never stops. Every day is a battle against the clock, a battle against your own limitations, a battle against the never-ending list of things you should be doing. You are trying so hard to control everything, to plan every detail, to force life into the neat and tidy and predictable boxes that you have created for it. But it's not working. The harder you push, the more resistance you feel. The more you try to control, the more chaotic everything becomes. And you are left with a quiet and desperate and deeply unsettling question. What if I'm doing it all wrong? In the next few minutes, the great spiritual entertainer, Alan Watts, is going to offer you a radical and liberating and deeply counterintuitive alternative. He's going to give you the secret to getting everything you want by stopping to try so hard. He will teach you the ancient and powerful and profoundly misunderstood art of not forcing, the art of effortless action. And you'll soon know how to stop swimming against the current and how to become the current itself. How to trade the exhausting and futile battle of the ego for the graceful and powerful and effortless dance of the soul. Part 1. The modern disease of forcing. Our entire civilization is built on a lie. And the lie is this, that you are in control. That with enough effort, enough planning, enough willpower, you can bend the universe to your will. We are taught this from birth. We are taught to set goals, to make plans, to hustle, to grind, to never give up. We are taught that life is a war and that we are the soldiers. We are taught that success is a mountain to be conquered and that happiness is a prize to be won. And so, we spend our lives in a state of perpetual and exhausting warfare. A war against our own bodies, which we try to force into submission with diets and exercise regimes. A war against our own minds, which we try to force into a state of constant and unnatural positivity. A war against our own lives, which we try to force into a predetermined and often deeply unfulfilling script. But what if this entire paradigm is wrong? What if life is not a war to be won, but a dance to be danced? What if the universe is not a machine to be controlled, but a river to be navigated? What if your true power lies not in your ability to force, but in your ability to flow? This is the radical and liberating and deeply challenging message that lies at the heart of the ancient and profound philosophy of Taoism. And the great British philosopher Alan Watts was its most brilliant and playful and eloquent modern prophet. He saw with a devastating clarity that our modern obsession with control was not just making us unhappy, it was making us sick. It was creating a civilization of anxious and neurotic and deeply alienated individuals who had become strangers to their own nature. We have become, as he so brilliantly put it, skin-encapsulated egos, separate from the world and separate from ourselves. We have forgotten that we are not just in the universe, we are the universe. We are not a noun, we are a verb, we are a happening, a process, a wave in the ocean of existence. And when you try to force a wave, what happens? It collapses. When you try to grab hold of water, what happens? It slips through your fingers. The very act of trying to control destroys the very thing you are trying to control. This is the great and tragic paradox of our modern lives. We are so busy trying to make life happen that we are missing the life that is happening right here, right now, all around us. We are so obsessed with the destination that we have forgotten how to enjoy the journey. We are so focused on the fruit that we have forgotten how to dance with the flower, and we are paying a terrible price. A price paid in anxiety, in depression, in burnout, and in a deep and abiding and soul-crushing sense of meaninglessness. Part 2. The Lost Art of Wu Wei. So, what is the alternative? If forcing doesn't work, what does? The answer lies in a single and profoundly misunderstood and deeply transformative concept: Wu Wei. Wu Wei is a Chinese term that is often translated as non-action or non-doing. But this translation is deeply misleading. Wu Wei is not about being passive. It is not about being lazy. It is not about sitting on the couch and waiting for life to happen to you. Wu Wei is the art of effortless action. It is the art of acting in harmony with the natural flow of things. It is the art of getting out of your own way and allowing life to live through you. Alan Watts had a beautiful way of explaining this. He would use the analogy of sailing. A sailor does not try to force the wind to blow in the direction they want to go. That would be insane. A sailor does not try to push the boat against the current. That would be exhausting and futile. No, a sailor learns to work with the wind and with the current. They adjust their sails. They use the rudder. They tack and jibe. They are not passive. They are engaged in a highly skilled and intelligent and deeply intuitive dance with the forces of nature. They are not controlling the wind, but they are using it to get where they want to go. That is Wu Wei. Another analogy is the one of a gardener. A gardener does not try to force a seed to grow. They do not pull on the sprout to make it taller. They do not shout at the flower to make it bloom. They know that this would be absurd. Instead, the gardener creates the conditions for growth. They provide the right soil, the right amount of water, the right amount of sunlight. And then they wait. They trust. They allow the seed to do what it knows how to do. They allow the flower to bloom in its own mysterious and perfect time. The gardener is not doing nothing. They are engaged in a patient and loving and deeply respectful collaboration with life. That is Wu Wei. This is a radical shift in perspective. We have been taught that our ego, our conscious, controlling mind, is the hero of the story, that it is the one who must figure everything out and make everything happen. But in the Taoist view, the ego is the villain. It is the one who is constantly getting in the way. It is the one who is muddying the water. The true hero of the story is the Tao. The Tao is the natural and spontaneous and intelligent order of the universe. It is the river. It is the wind. It is the seed. It is the deep and silent and infinitely wise intelligence that is flowing through everything, including you. And the practice of Wu Wei is the practice of learning to trust that intelligence. It is the practice of letting go of the frantic and anxious and deeply arrogant belief that you know better than the Tao. It is the practice of surrendering your own small and limited plans to the vast and mysterious and infinitely creative unfolding of life itself. It is the art of becoming a conduit instead of a controller, a dancer instead of a dictator, a sailor instead of a slave. Part 3. How to practice Wu Wei in a world of forcing. This all sounds beautiful and poetic and deeply profound. But how do you actually do it? How do you practice the art of effortless action in a world that is obsessed with effort? How do you learn to flow when everything and everyone around you is pushing? It is not easy. It is a practice. It is a rebellion. It is a quiet and courageous and deeply personal revolution. And it begins with 3 simple and transformative shifts. The first shift is from controlling to listening. Before you act, before you react, before you jump in and try to fix or manage or control a situation, you pause, you breathe, and you listen. You listen to your body. What are the sensations? Tension, relaxation, contraction, expansion. Your body is an instrument of the Tao. It is constantly giving you feedback. It knows on a deep and intuitive level what is right and what is wrong, what is in flow and what is out of flow. You must learn to trust its wisdom over the frantic and anxious and often deeply misguided chatter of your own mind. The second shift is from quantity to quality. Our culture is obsessed with quantity, more money, more followers, more achievements, more experiences. We are taught that a full life is a busy life, but Wu Wei teaches us the opposite. It teaches us that a full life is a deep life. It is a life that is lived with presence, with attention, with intention. It is the art of doing less, but doing it better. It is the courage to say no to the things that do not truly matter, so that you can say a deep and resonant and wholehearted yes to the things that do. It is choosing the single, perfect rose over the 1,000 plastic imitations. It is choosing the deep and meaningful conversation with a single friend over the shallow and exhausting small talk at a crowded party. It is choosing the path of depth over the path of distraction. And the third shift is from resistance to acceptance. This is the hardest and most crucial shift of all. There will be times in your life when the current is not flowing in the direction you want to go. There will be storms, there will be winters, there will be losses. And in these moments, your ego will want to fight. It will want to resist. It will want to rage against the reality of what is. But Wu Wei teaches us a different way. It teaches us the wisdom of the willow tree, which bends in the wind and therefore does not break. It teaches us the wisdom of water, which flows around the obstacle and therefore finds its way to the sea. It is not about passive resignation. It is about intelligent adaptation. It is about recognizing that some things are not in your control, and that your true power lies not in fighting against them, but in learning to flow with them, to trust that even the winter has its purpose, that even the darkness has its gifts, that even the loss has its lessons. This is not a one-time decision. It is a moment-to-moment choice. In every situation, in every interaction, in every breath, you have a choice. You can choose to force, or you can choose to flow. You can choose the path of the ego, or you can choose the path of the Tao. You can choose the exhausting and futile war of control, or you can choose the graceful and powerful and deeply liberating dance of surrender. Part 4. The Great Surrender. There will come a moment, and it will not be a moment of your own choosing, when you are brought to your knees, a moment when all of your plans have failed, a moment when all of your strength has run out, a moment when all of your forcing and striving and controlling has led you to a dead end. And in that moment, you will have a choice. You can continue to fight, to resist, to rage against the dying of your own carefully constructed light. Or you can do the most terrifying and courageous and revolutionary thing a human being can do. You can let go. This is the great surrender. It is not a surrender to defeat. It is a surrender to a higher intelligence, a surrender to the Tao. It is the moment when you finally and completely and without reservation admit that you are not in control. And in that moment of absolute and terrifying and deeply humbling surrender, something miraculous happens. The struggle ceases. The resistance dissolves. The water, which you have been thrashing about in, becomes still. And for the first time, you feel the current, the deep and powerful and loving current of the Tao that has been there all along, waiting to carry you home. This is the paradox that lies at the heart of all the great spiritual traditions, that your greatest strength is found in your greatest vulnerability, that your greatest power is found in your greatest surrender, that you only truly find your life when you are willing to lose it. When you stop trying to control your life, you allow life to start living through you. And the life that lives through you is infinitely more creative and intelligent and beautiful than the life you could have ever planned for yourself. Opportunities will appear as if from nowhere. The right people will walk into your life at the perfect time. The solutions to your problems will arise, not from your frantic and anxious mind, but from a deep and quiet and intuitive knowing. You will begin to act with a new kind of grace, a new kind of ease, a new kind of effectiveness. You will be doing less, but accomplishing more. You will be working, but it will not feel like work. It will feel like play. It will feel like a dance. You have stopped being the swimmer, and you have become the swimming. You have stopped being the dancer, and you have become the dance. This is not a destination. It is a practice. It is a lifelong journey of learning to let go. The ego will not die quietly. It will come back again and again with its fears and its doubts and its desperate need to be in control. And your work is to simply and gently and compassionately notice it, to thank it for its concern, and then to turn your attention back to the current, back to the breath, back to the dance, back to the deep and silent and infinitely wise flow of the Tao. So, I ask you, where in your life are you forcing? Where are you swimming against the current? Where are you clinging to a plan, a belief, a relationship that is no longer serving you? And what would it feel like just for a moment to let go, to unclench your fist, to soften your belly, to surrender to the beautiful and terrifying and deeply mysterious river of your own life? The river that is, right now, in this very moment, carrying you with an infinite and unwavering and unconditional love to the vast and boundless and eternal ocean of your own true self. Let's dissect this modern disease of forcing more deeply. It is a virus of the mind, and it has infected every aspect of our lives. In our careers, we are taught to climb a ladder, often without ever asking if the ladder is leaning against the right wall. We sacrifice our health, our relationships, our peace of mind for a promotion, a raise, a title. We are so busy proving our worth that we forget to live a life of worth. In our relationships, we try to force others to be who we want them to be. We try to change them, to fix them, to mold them into our own idealized image. We mistake control for love, and we wonder why our relationships feel like a battlefield. In our own personal growth, we treat ourselves like a project to be completed. We read the self-help books, we go to the seminars, we adopt the affirmations. We are constantly trying to improve ourselves, to optimize ourselves, to perfect ourselves. But this relentless pursuit of self-improvement is often just a more subtle and therefore more dangerous form of self-rejection. We are not trying to grow. We are trying to escape. We are trying to escape the messy and imperfect and deeply human reality of who we are. Alan Watts saw this with a piercing clarity. He called it the backwards law. The more you try to grasp something, the more it eludes you. The more you try to be happy, the more you will focus on your unhappiness. The more you try to be confident, the more you will become aware of your insecurity. The more you try to force life to give you what you want, the more you will experience lack. It is a cosmic joke. And the punchline is this: you were already whole. You were already worthy. You were already free. And the only thing that was ever standing in your way was your own desperate and futile attempt to get somewhere else. Wu Wei is not a philosophy of resignation. It is a philosophy of radical engagement. It is about being so deeply and intimately and exquisitely connected to the present moment that your actions arise not from a place of fear or ambition or calculation, but from a place of profound and intuitive and effortless rightness. It is the state of being in the zone, the state that the athlete, the artist, the musician all know so well. A state where the sense of a separate self, a separate doer, disappears. And there is only the doing, only the running, only the painting, only the music. In this state you are not thinking, you are being thought. You are not acting, you are being acted. You are a channel, a vessel, a conduit for a creative intelligence that is infinitely wiser and more powerful than your own small and limited ego. This is why the analogy of the sailor is so perfect. A bad sailor fights the wind. A good sailor dances with it. A bad sailor sees the storm as an enemy. A good sailor sees it as an opportunity to test their skill, to deepen their wisdom, to surrender to a power that is greater than their own. The good sailor knows that they are not in control of the ocean, but they are in control of how they respond to it. They can respond with fear and resistance and rigidity, or they can respond with courage and flexibility and grace. And in that response lies their freedom. The gardener, too, is a master of Wu Wei. The gardener knows that you cannot force a rose to bloom. You can only create the conditions for its blooming. And then you must wait. And in that waiting, there is a deep and profound and deeply countercultural wisdom. It is the wisdom of trusting the process, the wisdom of honoring the cycles, the wisdom of knowing that some things cannot be rushed, that some things can only unfold in their own sacred and mysterious time. Our culture has forgotten this wisdom. We want everything now. We want the fruit without the flower. We want the harvest without the winter. We want the resurrection without the crucifixion. And we are paying the price. A price paid in a deep and pervasive and soul-crushing sense of impatience, of frustration, and of being perpetually and exhaustingly out of sync with the natural rhythm of our own lives.